Hi, I'm Luke Hoban. I'm 19 years old. I'm currently a sophomore at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. I started using BiPAP when I was 7 or 8 years old, and it's been a really great experience for me. It made me feel so much better, um, not only at night when I was using it, but also during the day as well. Like throughout the day, the effects from just breathing better at night made me feel so much better. That's why when it was strongly recommended to me by my pulmonologist and my respiratory therapist that I go on SIP ventilation. When that happened, I was very surprised and a little upset. It happened in February of 2012, and I pretty much rejected the idea of doing that outright. It was a little scary, it was a little difficult for me to understand why I needed this, but I wasn't breathing deeply enough and getting enough um, oxygen and my CO2 levels were going up. So they eventually convinced me to at least give sip and puff ventilation a shot. And that was in about February of 2012. Uh, so I agreed because these people are smart, and we set about the process of getting the settings correct so that I can breathe correctly and in a way that would not make me feel the best while I was using my ventilation. That process was a little difficult, but after meeting with the respiratory therapist and the pulmonologist a couple times, we eventually figured out how to do it. I'm actually on a different machine now than I am when I started, but both of them have been really good. It was just another short little meeting to figure out how to best translate the settings from the other machine to this one. So if you do get SIP ventilation and need to switch, that's really not a difficult thing at all. Um, Now, it's been 17 months since I first started out with SIP ventilation, and it's been a great decision. I could not be happier that I decided to do this. I used to lay down for about an hour or two every day after school using my BiPAP machine just to get rid of headaches that I would get in the afternoon after school. And I haven't had to do that since I started on SIP ventilation. It's almost like I didn't realize how bad I was feeling until I started to feel better. Since I am breathing better, I've had many positive effects on how I feel physically and mentally. I don't get as many headaches, which is great. I've also been just generally healthier. I've been gaining weight well and been able to maintain what I want to be. I haven't been sick, knock on wood, since I started using SIP ventilation. Um, it's just generally been a really good feeling to be able to breathe a lot better all day, every day. Logistically, it's really not that difficult to set up. The machine rests on the back of my wheelchair, and it stays there all day and night, so we don't need to worry about moving it around or taking it off. We're dealing with that unless there's special circumstances, like a really long trip or whatever. I have a few different batteries that I use that we charge up overnight, and that way it allows the machine to stay charged all day because I can switch them out as I need, and that allows me to never really get close to running out of battery throughout the course of a day. It is important to note that I don't use sip and puff ventilation at night. It doesn't replace BiPAP, so I still use the BiPAP at night, and the sip and puff ventilation is really just during the day. That's the only time I use it. That's the only time you can use it. So when I first got sip and puff, I only used it after school. I would use it in place of those naps that I would take after school, and I would just use it for the rest of the day. That was towards the end of junior year in March of 2012. Senior year, I started to use it more often because I noticed it was making me feel better. I would start around lunchtime, and again, just use it for the rest of the day. And now it's gotten to the point where I just use it all day, every day. I turn it on when I wake up in the morning, and I turn it off when I go to bed at night. At first, there were definitely a few questions because it was this whole new thing from my friends and my family. But it's a pretty straightforward concept. I can't take a deep breath because I have a muscle disease, so this just gets me more air. And after I explained that to people and why I used it and why I needed it, that was really the end of the conversation. that was definitely a source of concern for me when I first started out. But it's just not, it didn't seem like something that people really had an issue with, Like, it's not going to change people's opinions of me. I felt better, and that's the only real way I can imagine it impacting, like, my interactions with other people, because I was feeling better. So I would sort of be more, I don't know, happy, and, like, it just, I wasn't feeling worn down all the time. So it's easier to interact with people when that happens. It's just been amazing. Sip and Puff also does not get in my way at all. It just consists of a single tube that you saw in the beginning, and you can see right here. I can do all sorts of activities with it in my mouth, or even just with it on my lap. I've also gotten pretty good at talking with it in my mouth. I've also gotten pretty good at talking with it in my mouth. A few years ago, I made a video about BiPAP and its benefits and how glad I was that I started using that when I did. I hate to repeat myself, but I'm going to anyway. Sip and Puff ventilation is awesome, and I cannot recommend it enough. And I really think you should do it, even though I don't know you. I might know you, but probably not. If I know you, hi. If you have any questions, or just want to talk about Sip and Puff ventilation, or my experience, or want me to talk more about specific things, you can feel free to email me. I'll put my email on the screen at the end of this video, and we can chat about whatever questions you might have.